They're welcoming the Ukraine ambassador, who's in the gallery above the house that everyone's recording for.
Your Excellency, we generally do not allow applause in this chamber. But on this occasion, the House quite rightly wants to demonstrate our respect and support for your country and its people in the most difficult of times. Before we start, I would like to point out the British Sign Language interpretation proceedings available to watch on Parliament Live TV. We now come to questions, Prime Minister. I call Graham Stewart.
Right, guys, let's get into it.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday I was in Warsaw and Tallinn, reaffirming our commitment to NATO and our solidarity with Ukraine.
Two-thirds of whom, he says, are the bad guys.
In his abhorrent assault on a sovereign nation, he has underestimated the extraordinary fortitude of the Ukrainian people and the unity and resolve of the free world in standing up to his barbarism. The UN General Assembly will vote later today, and we call on every nation to join us in condemning Russia and demanding that Putin turn his tanks around.
The tanks that you said didn't exist.
Putin doubles down, then so shall we, further ratcheting up economic pressure and supporting Ukraine with finance, with weapons and with humanitarian assistance. Today, the Disasters and Emergency Committee is launching its Ukraine appeal, and every pound donated by the British people will be matched by the government, starting with £20 million. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Piss off, you absolute ratbag.
Men, women, children, terrorised, murdered and maimed. Indiscriminate munitions.
Yeah, by your mates.
On civilian
by your mates, Graham. By your mates. By your funders. The funders of your fucking party. The people who fund your fucking party. Sit down and shut up, you fucking hypocrites. Fuck you. This war would not be happening if it wasn't for fucks like this.
I thank my
and especially like fucks like this motherfucker right here. This mountain of mad flesh. Piece of shit. Go on, fuck off.
And I told him.
You told him some fucking lies. Because all you do is fucking lie. Oh yeah, everything he can. Roman Abramovich is fucking selling fucking Chelsea. He hasn't liquidated it. Sorry, he's allowing.
Weaponry.
Roman Abramovich to fucking liquidate his assets before and get out the country.
Help Ukrainians.
That's not seizing assets, you daft twat. Everything he can, the lying piece of shit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very glad the ambassador is here so he can hear me repeat what I've said to him privately on a number of occasions, and that is that this House and this country stand united in our support for the Ukrainian people in the face of Russian aggression. And we're all appalled by the shocking footage that's emerged over the last few days. We must stand up to Putin and those who prop up his regime. Mr. Speaker, Roman Abramovich is the Tory party football club and various other high-value assets in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
He's a person of interest to the Home Office because of his links to the Russian state and his public association with corrupt activity and practices. Last week, the Prime Minister said that Abramovich is facing sanctions. He later corrected the record to say that he isn't. Well, why on earth isn't he?
Yeah. Why isn't your mate fucking getting done for this?
On individual
oh, fuck off! Oh, fuck off, you fat cunt! Fuck off! You fucking lying piece of shit who can't comment about individuals. Yes, you fucking can. You're in fucking Parliament, you cunt! Fuck off!
Being no doubt that the
gobshite. Lying fucking gobshite.
Has already taken are having an effect
in
Moscow, and by exposing the ownership of properties.
They're having an effect in fucking London, are they, twat bag? Fucking London grads still going fucking strong.
Last week, the impact.
We have warned all of our Russian backers that they must liquidate their assets and get the fuck out of Dodge. We've given a bank a month, 1 month to get its shit in order. Fucking hell. Hello, this is the police. Hello, we've come to arrest you. Just stay there. We'll be along in a month.
They will have heard what the President of the United States
Cunt!
had to say last night. The vice
Fuck
is
you.
tightening on the Putin regime.
I wish the fucking vice was tighten on your fucking head.
Starmer.
Robert De Niro in fucking casino turning the fucking handle.
The way in which he puts it, and I hope that mean we'll see some
Can't
action.
comment on individual cases.
Last week, Putin summoned to the Kremlin the cronies who prop up his regime. They dipped their hands in the blood of Putin's war. Among them was Igor Shuvalov, Putin's former deputy prime minister. Shuvalov owns 2 flats, not 5 minutes walk from this house.
Oh,
they're worth over £11 million.
Fucking hell!
He is on the EU sanctions list.
Fucking
but he's
hell!
not on the UK sanctions list.
Jesus.
When will the Prime Minister sort this out?
Yeah, when will he sort it out?
Should be proud of what we have done already.
Fuck off.
And I can tell him that
scumbag.
there is more to be done.
What?
And thanks to the powers that this House and this government has taken, we can sanction any individual, any company.
Go on then. Go on then, gobshite. Go on then, do it. Do it, you fucking cowardly fucking blob. Go on, fucking do it. Aeroflot never really supported the Tory party, did they? So fuck them. But everyone else.
And if you talk to any of our European partners,
you're not answering the fucking question. He didn't ask you about what the other people you've done. He asked specifically about a Russian oligarch who owns 2 flats on your doorstep worth £11 million. Flats that we're not allowed to own as British people because they're owned by some fucking cunt from fucking Russia.
Mr. Speaker, I support the measures that have been taken so far. The ownership of Shuvalov's flats is registered under Sova Real Estate, which is actually owned by Shuvalov and his wife. We only know which oligarch lurks beneath that shell company because of the information obtained and disclosed by Alexei Navalny. Navalny, of course, was poisoned by the Russian state
and he's in jail.
He now sits in a Putin jail. Transparency is essential to rooting out corruption. It should be built into our law, but it's not. And I'm ashamed that we only know about Shuvalov's Westminster flats because a dissident risked his life. Is the Prime Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I repeat that the UK, of course, is doing everything.
See the morons on its side standing up to ask a question during the leader of the opposition's questions. What the fuck? Do you see that? Fabricant and fucking Peter Bone standing up. Twats.
Who are guilty for the poisoning of Alexei Navalny that he mentions. But what we're
what are you doing now? What are you doing? You did nothing. You did nothing after the poisonings in Salisbury, you little cunt. You did fucking nothing, you scruffy bastard.
In a way that has not been possible.
You scruffy, Putin-loving motherfucker.
Will continue to tighten the noose.
Fucking bad job, you fucking traitor. You shouldn't wear either of those fucking flags. Cunt.
Led the way on
you haven't led the way on anything.
Russian central bank.
No, we haven't. The EU have put way harsher sanctions on the fucking Russians, not you, cockface.
We want them to go further.
Fuck you, penis nose.
And we will continue to put pressure, Mr. Speaker, ineluctable pressure on the
reluctant pressure when we can be asked.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister refers to the long overdue economic crime bill, which, to be clear, we support and will vote through on Monday with speed. The key plank to that bill is a register of who truly owns property in the United Kingdom.
Key plank is
but it doesn't come into force for existing owners like Shuvalov until 18 months after the bill passes. At best, that's autumn 2023.
Jesus, cunt Christ!
For the Ukrainian people.
Yeah.
Why are we giving Putin's cronies 18 months?
18
to
months?
Quietly launder their money out of the UK property market and into another safe haven?
Yeah. Answer that, cunt.
Speaker, the
Go
impact of what the UK is
Duncan
doing,
Smith, fucking standing up. Duncan Donut, standing up.
I think the whole House should be proud of what we have done because we have led
What? You've let the fucking Russians off the hook, you little twat! You squirming little fucking cunt, eh? Fucking look at him squirm. Look at him, little fucking coward. Not a fucking backbone on that entire fucking bench. Not or any of those benches on the Tory side. Fucking cowards. Cowardly fuck. Yeah, because of the actions of the EU and the US, not because of you cunt. You dodgy fucking Russian loving cunt. What about your mate, Lord of fucking Siberia in fucking the House of Lords, eh? What about him? Eh? Cockface? How about you get rid of Lebedev, eh? You little shite bag, making him unelected bureaucrat in my fucking country and fucking lawmaker for life. That's what that cunt did. The Russian fucking oligarch.
The Prime Minister knows he has the House with him when this economic crime bill goes through. We could do this on Monday at speed, and I think the whole House.
Yeah, go on then.
So it's an invitation.
Boris Johnson, with the exclusion of the Tory benches because they like their money too much.
This week. It rightly sets out that the UK's companies register is being exploited to further the interests of the UK's enemies to help them move stolen money into the West. But the same department, on the very same day, published an economic crime bill which did nothing to address this, leaving Companies House untouched and still exploited.
Companies House.
So will the Prime Minister work with us to amend
money
the bill
launderer in the world
on Monday to include the most basic reforms like identity checks for directors?
Just say yes. People are saying to him, just say yes.
Mr. Speaker, we are bringing forward at an accelerated pace
just say yes.
to whip aside the veil of
you fucking cunt. See, you won't say yes. You just fucking do it. It's in his gift to fucking do it, and he won't fucking do it because he's a Russian cunt stooge. Can't wait till this cunt is in the fucking Tower of London awaiting his fucking execution as a fucking traitor, because that's what this cunt is. And any cunt who still fucking supports this cunt is a fucking traitor too. A traitor to this country, a traitor to this continent, a traitor to this fucking planet. Fuck off, cunt.
Mr. Speaker, we will work in that spirit and bring forward amendments on Monday to try and achieve all the ends that I've identified in these questions. And I think this can be voted through on Monday at speed with the full support of the House. And I'm very pleased that we can show that unity with the Ambassador here watching us. In this week of darkness, we have seen glimmers of hope in the resolve of Ukraine, in the unity of our allies, and in the bravery of Russian protesters. They remind us that the Russian people are not our enemy. They are the victims of thieves who've stolen their wealth and stolen their chance of democracy. For too long, Britain has been a safe haven for stolen money. Putin thinks that we're too corrupted to do the right thing and put an end to it.
Does
the Prime Minister agree that this House and this country stands united in our support for Ukraine, and now is the time to sanction every oligarch and crack open every shell company so we can prove Putin wrong?
Go on, do that, cunt face. Go on then.
Mr. Speaker, that's why this government has brought forward the unprecedented
fucking festering boiled
that we have.
Oh, bullshit. You fucking shitty half-arse sanctions that are going to take 18 months to fucking come through. Fuck off.
With me that nothing we do
cheating, lousy bastard.
And corrupt money
cheating,
in
lousy, Russian-owned, stooge, puppet, cunt. Puppet made of lard. Fucking Vladimir Putin's little lard puppet. That's what this fucking slug is. Fuck off, traitor.
The benches opposite are resolved as we are that Putin must fail in his venture, and that we must
he hasn't failed, mate. He's actually succeeded thanks to cunts like you.
Free and independent Ukraine.
Nah, he's completely succeeded, mate. Because of cunts like you, letting him get away with fucking murder, while he fucking funds the cunting Conservative Party. The Conservatives get funded by fucking Vladimir Putin. Boris Johnson is paid more by Vladimir Putin than he is through his job as being Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Cunt! Right, we're going to get a softball question now from the Tory side.
Speaker, can I first of all say how brave the Ukrainian people are?
Prime gammon there, Jesus Christ! Just about the hard life,
I commend the Prime Minister and the government for the excellent actions
steak
we have
dinners
taken
he's had
so
to
far.
eat.
Ukraine is very much the breadbasket of the world, and it grows much wheat. And so therefore, Prime Minister, I think we need to make sure there is food security and also security of global food supply. So would the Prime Minister agree with me that we need also to look to the...
He's got the shifty demeanour of someone who's committed some horrific crime, hasn't he? Look at him.
Enhance our food production in order to keep good
He's the type of person who wouldn't make eye contact with you. You know the type, don't you?
Yes, my honourable friend knows whereof he speaks. Mr. Speaker, he is
everyone's honourable until they check your fucking hard drives.
Farming, and that's why we're increasing the Farming Investment Fund to £48 million. We have a massive opportunity, particularly for UK fruit and vegetables.
We now come to the leader of the SNP.
An opportunity. Let's talk about war as an opportunity for Britain's fucking farmers. What a cunt.
Ambassador to our proceedings. Mr. Speaker, with every passing hour, the world is witnessing the horrors of Putin's war in Ukraine. In Kherson, a family of 5, a mother, her parents, her 6-year-old daughter and her baby son were murdered in cold blood by Russian troops. In the same city, a 12-year-old boy watched his mother die as he desperately attempted to save her from the rubble of her own home. These are war crimes happening in Europe right now. Vladimir Putin is a war criminal. And one day soon, Putin must face justice in The Hague. Mr. Speaker, to prosecute Putin and his regime, the full range of war crime charges need to be used, including the crime of aggression by a state. But the UK has always refused to sign up to the prosecution of this crime in international law. Surely with Putin's crime of aggression in plain and horrific sight in Ukraine, now is the time to drop that opposition. Will the Prime Minister meet with me to discuss this? And will he amend the UK War Crimes Act? And will he support the ICC prosecution for Putin for his crimes of aggression against the people of Ukraine?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm in principle, of course, happy to meet at any stage, but I can tell him that what we've seen already from Vladimir Putin's regime
vaccines
in the use of the munitions that they have already been dropping on innocent civilians, Mr. Speaker, in my view, already fully qualifies as a war crime. And I know that the ICC prosecutor is already investigating, and I'm sure the whole House will support that.
Ian Blackford.
I thank the Prime Minister for that answer, and let's work together across this House to make sure that Putin is prosecuted, that he is held to account. Mr. Speaker, just as we seek to punish and prosecute Putin for his crimes, we need to help the Ukrainian people right now. Hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians are fleeing the horrors of this war, and they desperately need refuge and sanctuary. The UN estimates that well over 500,000 Ukrainian refugees need urgent help, most of them women and children. This is a moment for Europe to stand united in the face of Putin's war. The European Union have acted and waived all visa requirements for Ukrainian refugees. The UK government stands alone on our continent in so far refusing to do the same. Nicola Sturgeon, Scotland's First Minister, has made clear our country stands ready to open our borders and our hearts to the people of the Ukraine, but the UK government must bring down the barriers. Will the Prime Minister join with our European partners and waive all visa requirements for the people of Ukraine who are fleeing war?
Go on then.
Mr. Speaker, the EU already, because of its Schengen border-free zone, has its own arrangements with Ukraine. They differed for a long time from those of the UK. But what we do have is a plan, Mr. Speaker.
A plan. I was got a plan. Fucking what? I don't want a plan. I don't want a plan. You cunts! You horrible little nasty twat! How dare you? How fucking dare you deny women and children refuge, fleeing fucking war on our own fucking continent? You piece of shit! Fucking hell! I can't decide whether I want him to fucking cark it or fucking Putin more at the moment. You fucking rat bag! You know you can't take medicine out of this fucking country for the people in Ukraine without filling in about fucking 27 fucking forms.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Customs declarations.
On the 28th of July last year, every Labour councillor in Bury voted in favour of Andy Burnham's plan to impose a 493 square mile clean air charging zone upon my constituents and the residents of Greater Manchester.
There's a fucking war on, cunt!
The Mayor's plan
There's a fucking war on! There's a war! There's a war! There's a war! And you're what the fuck? What the living fuck are you you fucking cunt?
Mr. Speaker, as somebody who
my
once
God.
had to deal with a badly thought
Everyone's fucking sitting there in the colours of the Ukraine flag, and he's fucking standing up and asking a question about bloody Clean Air Acts in Manchester. Piss off, you twat. We'll get rid of this Clean Air Act. We want our children breathing poison fucking air. No, these shower cunts give a fuck about their children. They don't give a fuck about children, not even their own. They don't even know how many children this cunt's got. Piece of shit. Fuck nuts. Go on, ask a question about the fucking war.
Works for the British International School in the Ukraine. The school employs 60 British citizens, most of whom thankfully escaped via a bus over the weekend. Now, I heard the Prime Minister's response earlier on to my colleague from the SNP, the leader of the SNP. But given the lack of a humanitarian corridor, 173 Ukrainian colleagues from that school are stuck in Kiev and Dnipro and ineligible for the Home Office's humanitarian sponsorship pathway due to the school being domiciled in the Ukraine. Wales aspires to be a nation of sanctuary. Our neighbours in Ireland have waived all visa requirements for 3 years. Why won't he allow us to provide the same humanitarian?
Because he's a cunt. I'll tell you why, Liz. Because he's a cunt. Here you go. You'll hear it now out of his own cunt mouth. Come on, tell us. Tell us. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the arrangements we have are right. They will be very generous, and they already are
very generous.
Indeed.
Very fucking generous. Fuck you, you lying piece of shit. Very generous. They're very generous, you know. They're very generous. They're the least generous in the entire continent of Europe, excluding fucking Belarus and Russia.
The nurses and doctors working at Warrington Hospital in my constituency provide selfless care for families living in some of the most deprived areas
fucking electing
of
this
England,
cunt.
life expectancy
You elected the fucking Conservative. Jesus
Christ,
Warrington. Fucking horrible fucking traffic jam of a fucking place.
With thousands of new homes being built in Warrington, putting pressure on services, particularly at the General Hospital. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that tackling health inequalities is key to levelling up?
None of them on their side are talking about the fucking war. None of them are talking about. He's talking about fucking hospital. The other guy's talking about Clean Air Act. We've got to stop building houses. We've got to stop building houses. We've got to stop this Clean Air Act. We don't want clean air for children.
The country.
Look at Nadine Dorries there, fucking biting her fucking nails. Get your fucking thumb out of your mouth. Get your thumb out of your mouth, you fucking horrible woman. Jesus Christ, you're on the telly, sitting there sucking a thumb. Nadine Dorries.
The situation in Ukraine continues to appall most of the world and shames the rest. And importantly highlights the need to break our economic dependency both on Russia and on China. Does the Prime Minister agree that our national security must be protected and our food, energy, cyber and national infrastructure must be secure both now and in the future from hostile governments? Specifically, will he commit to a real hydrogen strategy that both industry and trade unions like the GMB are calling for by doubling the hydrogen production target for 2030?
Yes, I thank her very much. I think a very far-sighted question, and that's exactly what we should be doing. And we are moving to much more energy resilience and self-reliance. I think it was a shame that the party opposite cancelled so much of our nuclear power whilst they were in or failed.
You've been in power for fucking 12 years, you motherfucking cunt. 12 fucking years. A dozen years. A dozen fucking years.
Mr. Speaker. Last September, my constituent Dylan Rich, who was a talented 17-year-old footballer, tragically collapsed and died during a youth FA Cup game. His family and his club, the West Bridgford Colts, raised money in his honour to buy more defibrillators on site, but were faced with a VAT bill of hundreds of pounds on each life-saving device. Will my right honourable friend commit to reviewing the VAT on commercial defibrillators to bring them in line with the zero rate applied to other medical instruments? And will he meet with me, Dylan's family and his club to discuss this?
I don't think this isn't important, but like seriously, right now, this is the question you want to ask. There's a war in Europe, and this is the question you want to ask.
And family.
It's probably wasting months to ask that fucking question.
An emotive issue. Defibrillators at the moment are through voluntary contributions.
How can we have someone so inarticulate in charge of our fucking country? You know, people say, "Oh, if you swear, you're not very articulate." Fuck you! I'm way more articulate than this cunt. Every other fucking word is.
Will the Prime Minister instruct the Conservative Party to give to Ukrainian humanitarian causes the £2 million they've accepted from Lvov Chernukin? This includes £80,000 referred to in data released today by the Electoral Commission. Now, I know he doesn't want to tar everyone with Russian links with the same brush, and neither do I. But leaked documents... They might want to listen to the question, Mr. Speaker. Leaked documents show that Vladimir Chernukin received $8 million from a Russian member of Parliament, an ally of Putin, who was later sanctioned by the United States. Mr. Speaker, this is an opportunity for the Conservative Party and for the Prime Minister to end the suspicion of conflicts of interest with Putin whilst showing solidarity with the Ukrainian people.
It is absolutely vital, Mr. Speaker, if we are to have a successful outcome in what we are trying to do collectively, united with Ukraine, that we demonstrate that this is not about the Russian people, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, right, okay. He's going to defend his oligarch mates. It's not about the Russian people. What a cunt. What a fucking cunt. Because every Russian's got $2 million to give to the fucking Tory cunts.
Putin has chosen. He has chosen to inflict death and destruction on the people of Ukraine.
He's actually asking about a question about Ukraine. That's a first.
But others, including those in the Russian military and Russian oligarchs, could still choose to be on the right side of history.
Your leaders just said we don't punish the people.
And other world leaders tell them to make the right choice and to make it soon, because in this conflict, time is life.
I think my right honourable friend has made a very powerful and important point, and I do hope that those who have any links with the Putin regime, whatever, anybody...
like the guy that Bill just mentioned from Sefton Central, he just said about one of the Russian fucking Putin's men who took $8 million from fucking Putin, effectively. And he said, "Oh no, we don't go after individuals. We don't go after the Russian people."
2 weeks ago, in a letter to the Prime Minister, I outlined that over 500,000 people in the UK are immunocompromised, and to them, the idea of living with COVID is frightening. And many charities, such as the MS Society, are not reassured by the government's lifting of restrictions around free testing and isolation. So, does the Prime Minister agree with me that in order to protect this group, free COVID-19 testing must continue and include their families and friends, as well as any unpaid carers, so that they can really be allowed to live with COVID?
Prime Minister.
I thank, and as I said to her, I think last week, it is absolutely essential that those who are immunocompromised, the clinically extremely vulnerable, continue to have access to free testing and all the therapies and antivirals that they need.
Close question, Bob Seeley.
Well, please, Mr. Speaker.
Closed question is one that's been supplied to the Prime Minister in writing.
Sorry, forgive me, Mr. Speaker.
He's going to have to find it now in his fucking notes. Useless cunt. Wasn't ready.
Thank you.
There you go.
I thank my honourable friend for his question. We're carefully reviewing responses to our recent consultation on a range of legislative proposals to counter state threats, including foreign agents' registration. We will update Parliament in due course.
Seeley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank the Ukrainian ambassador. Dobry den, drug moi, уважаемый посол, дякую вашему народу. Slava Ukraina, Slava Ukraina.
Okay. The benefit of the rest of the House, please.
I just said thank you to him and thank you, sir. Key oligarchs enforce the Kremlin's hybrid conflict. In Britain, one of its aims is to ensure safe passage for money flows offshore, whilst law firms intimidate into silence those who would investigate, be it the media or even the National Crime Agency.
Law firms? No. Only court orders can do this.
This is how state corruption happens. And this is systemic.
No, state corruption is your cunt party taking money from Russian oligarchs.
Law firms and the finance companies in recent years.
Law firms. Over 2,000 children of Russian oligarchs in our private schools.
A very important point.
And he wants to go after law firms.
Law firms in this country are regulated by the Solicitors Regulation Authority. They were reminded on the 23rd of February of the need to comply with sanctions regulations, legislation, and there are regular checks to ensure that they are doing so. They have responsibilities under that regime to safeguard the UK and to protect the reputation of the United Kingdom legal services industry. And clearly, they will face sanctions if they fail to do so.
Chris Brown. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Putin is the only enemy. But I do feel ashamed. The United Kingdom signed the Budapest Accord in 1994, guaranteeing the territorial integrity of Ukraine. 23 men who once sat on these benches gave their lives for plucky little Belgium. They have shields down that end. 22 did the same for Poland. They have shields down this end. And we're not guaranteeing the territorial integrity of Ukraine. We're not even, I don't want war, nobody wants war, but we're not even sanctioning Sergei Shoigu, the Russian defense minister, yet, nor Igor Osipov, the commander of the Black Sea Fleet, or Uzmanov, Sechin, Peskov, Abramovich, Roldugin, or the members of the Russian Duma who voted for this war. Why don't we use parliamentary privilege to get this out there so the lawyers can't attack the sanctions that we must surely bring rapidly today?
Yes! Come on, Confface. Answer the question.
I know that the whole House will understand his feelings and his frustration.
Feelings, feelings, touchy feelings.
No country in the West is going directly to the support of the Ukrainians with direct
we're not doing
military
anything.
assistance.
We're not even doing indirect
that
assistance.
Is a reality.
We're giving
accept,
indirect non-assistance. We're not taking refugees. We're not freezing the bank accounts of the cunts with all the money in London who are from Russia.
Would be, I think,
we're not stripping them of their British citizenship when they're bought a golden fucking visa. We're doing fuck all.
I think they play directly into Putin's narrative. That this is about... He says it's about him versus the West. He says it's about him versus NATO. We say it's about him versus the Ukrainian people, Mr. Speaker. And that's, that is, I'm afraid, the difference. And as for what he says about...
What are you talking about?
Shame. Actually, I'm proud of what the UK has been able to do so far.
Like what? What have we done? We've done fuck all.
I'm proud that we've given a lead, not just on sanctions, Mr. Speaker,
have we? No,
where we insisted on the toughest measures, including
no,
SWIFT,
weakest measures in the EU.
European countries in offering military assistance to Ukraine, and we will continue to do so.
Fuck all in assistance.
He would like to go further.
Sold them weapons.
He would like to go further.
Sold them.
But I can tell the House that we are going to continue to go further.
So that's a no then. It's another no. So we've learned today that this cunt is doing absolutely nothing in his power to stop Russian aggression in Ukraine.
I know the Prime Minister also wants to slash red tape to make Britain more internationally competitive. David Cameron succeeded, but after he left, we abandoned his proven one-in, two-out regime and added billions in red tape costs instead. Last month, the benefits of Brexit document repeats the mistake, vetoing one-in, two-out for another toothless regime. Can I urge the Prime Minister to step in before it's too late? Otherwise, the blob will win and we will fail to deliver a key benefit of Brexit.
What? The reduction of red tape is a key benefit of Brexit. We can't even take medicine out of the country to children who are dying in Ukraine because you cunts gave us fucking Brexit. You daft twats! Oh, fuck off, you fucking cunt! Fucking haunted pencil. Fucking ratbag.
And regulation across the board.
Fuck off.
I don't know about the blob, Mr. Speaker. I can think of
you are the fucking blob. Syphilitic blob of custard. That is you. You horrible little man.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Speaker, satellite images show a 40-mile-long convoy of military hardware.
Oh, Jesus Christ, look at this
surrounding
cunt.
the cities
What
of
the
Ukraine.
fuck does he look like?
We know from Grozny what the intention of Vladimir Putin's going to be.
Jesus
Mr.
Christ.
Speaker, hundreds of thousands of people are going to be murdered in these cities. Think of in this house, everybody, think of your families, think of your neighbours, think of relatives you may have aboard. They are going to be murdered. Now, the Prime Minister has led the world in the reaction
No, he hasn't.
to what's going on.
No, he
I'm
hasn't.
proud of what he's done.
He has not led the
Can I
world.
ask
We had the
my
weakest
right friend,
sanctions
I
in the
know
whole
he's
of
probably not
Europe.
been to bed for a week, but can I ask him to use every second he's got remaining until this tragedy is surely going to unfold to try and prevent it from happening?
Mr. Speaker, this was, of course, one of the subjects that I discussed this morning with
he won't even
Volodymyr
sanction
Zelensky.
Russian citizens.
And I think to many people,
Russian
looking at
oligarchs,
it,
you won't sanction them
quickly,
in
Mr.
this
Speaker,
fucking country.
They will wonder why it is impossible to interrupt the progress of those tanks with airstrikes or from a drone, for instance, which we know that the Ukrainians have. Technically, unfortunately, it turns out militarily it is not as easy as you might think, Mr. Speaker. And the tragic reality is that Vladimir Putin is going to continue to grind his war machine forward
the tanks
if
off.
he possibly
So how
can.
about you blow
That
up
is
the
why
oligarchs?
it is
Take their
vital
fucking
that we
British
continue
citizenship
the
off
military
them.
support
Take
that
their
we're
British
offering, and that is
visas
why
off
it is also
them.
vital that together with the United States
Strip
and
them
all
of their
our friends and
citizenship,
partners in the
strip
West,
them of their
we
visas, get them the
intensify
fuck out of this
and
country,
accelerate the
and
program of
seize
economic sanctions that is
their
already
assets.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, London is known as the world's capital for corrupt Russian money.
Yes. It is.
£100 billion a year is awash in our country. And the scale of this corruption couldn't happen without what the Intelligence and Security Committee
Collusion by the
described
government.
as the enablers. The
Collusion.
lawyers, the accountants, the PR specialists, and so on, including
the Tory government.
those who challenge our brave independent journalists for identifying them.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister didn't respond fully, I think, to the honourable members from the Isle of Wight in terms of how he will tackle the activity of these enablers who are for too long been corrupting the rule of law in our country.
I thank her. Well, with great respect, Mr. Speaker, let me repeat again, in fact, reinforce what I said to my honourable friend from the Isle of Wight.
Great respect.
All
due respect.
Legal profession, everybody involved in assisting those who wish to hide money in London, assisting corrupt
like
oligarchs,
you, yes,
have been set on notice.
Oh, good, you're being on notice.
Scrutiny, and where they break the
great.
law, if
That's
they
good
break
to
the
know.
law, if they undermine the interests of this country and advance the interests of Putin's war machine, they will pay a price.
Very California.
Oh, good. I hope you go
Thank
to
you,
jail
Mr.
very
Speaker.
soon, Mr.
In
fucking
the last
Johnson.
few days,
Cunt.
I've been overwhelmed and heartened by the incredible response of my constituents to the crisis
That's my MP.
in Ukraine, with countless offers of accommodation and financial support for refugees. But the community sponsorship route is a very slow process, and it will struggle to meet the challenge that we face. So does the Prime Minister agree with me that we need a faster and more effective route and a better way of offering sanctuary to the refugees and the people of Ukraine than the government's current proposals?
I thank her very much. I know that the sympathies of the whole House are with her and what she's trying to do. And I talked to our Polish friends yesterday about what we can do in partnership with them to bring people directly to the UK who are fleeing to Poland. And I've set out for the House, as I know my right honourable friend, the Home Secretary, has already the big package of measures that we're putting in to help people fleeing Ukraine. I just want to repeat, look at the numbers we took from Afghanistan, look at the numbers of BNOs from Hong Kong, huge numbers of people that have come to the UK, and I think that we've settled 25,000 vulnerable people since
we don't have to take anyone from
2015,
Ukraine,
which is more than any other European country, so we should be proud of our record.
What a heart of fucking gold this gobshite's got.
My grandfather, Paul Krejcikova, was Ukrainian. He was deported by the Soviets to the gulags of Siberia. I am proud of my Ukrainian heritage, never more so than over the past week, when this plucky nation, the nation of my family, has stood up to jackboot of Putin's army. I know that the world is watching the PM and our country. Will the Prime Minister give me his assurances that he will continue to look at every single possible option to ensure that Putin does the toughest range of punitive sanctions, both through financial measures, but also focusing on his inner circle.
No. He's already said, this cunt's already said we don't go after Russian people. We're just going after Putin. Putin keeps his money in other people. That's why his cellist has got £2 billion in the fucking Panama Papers.
To do that. Can I just echo what he said about our bond, our debt to the Ukrainian people? Never forget when we stood side by side with Russia in the 1940s against fascism. Mr. Speaker, there was a Ukrainian army. A Ukrainian contribution to that army was 10 million people, and they were absolutely invaluable in freedom as well.
Angela Crawley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prime Minister, Scotland stands ready to welcome any fleeing Ukrainians. However, this government has failed to follow the example of the European Union of a red tape visa-free approach. Will this Prime Minister commit to an unconditional, rapid, safe and legal approach to settlement for Ukrainians fleeing this invasion? Why is he failing to do so?
Why?
Mr. Speaker, as I've explained to the House already several times, the EU has a border-free Schengen zone. It's not appropriate for them to have checks of any kind. We've got a different system.
They can have checks on the border of Schengen. Ukraine's not part of Schengen.
The large numbers of people leaving that war zone. It's sensible to have checks and to make sure, Mr. Speaker, that we know who is coming in. But what we will not do is impede Ukrainians coming in fear of their lives. This country, as I've said...
Yes, you are impeding them! You lying sack of shit! You fucking pathological liar! You are lying! You're standing in the fucking House of Commons fucking lying, you fucking blob! You fucking slug!
Look at what we've done.
Absolute rat bag!
She should be proud
we should be proud of what we've done in the fucking some other country, some other place, some other time.
Point of order.
Fucking rat bag.
Chamber just settled out.
Right, everyone's fucking off, so I'm going to fuck off from the screen. I will be back with you in a moment. Okay, the BBC seem to have cut the sound there. It's just make my job any easier, but whatever. Whatevs. So that was another PMQs. Boris Johnson, most horrible man in the world.
Nope. Point of order, Angus Brendan McNeill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This is the first of 2 points of order that I'm hoping to raise today. On the point of order, Mr. Speaker, on Monday this week, the government published a newly signed free trade agreement between the UK and New Zealand and briefed the press about it before sharing the agreement with my committee, despite assurances from the Secretary of State for International Trade and our department this would not happen. My committee has also sought clarity from the Secretary of State about key aspects of the scrutiny timeline to ensure that we and this House have time to meaningfully consider the FTA before its ratification, without response nearly a month after we set them a deadline. And I'm sure you'll agree, Mr. Speaker, ensuring parliamentary scrutiny of the free trade agreement that the government signs is of utmost importance. I'm deeply concerned, Mr. Speaker, by the cavalier approach of the government. They seem to be taken in the regard, and particularly so is the equivalent committee up in the House of Lords. The government's attitude directly impacts on my committee's ability to conduct scrutiny, and it has been appointed to do so by the House under standing orders, and by extension, therefore, this is a discourtesy shown to this House as a result. Mr. Speaker, can you please advise me on how to ensure that the government upholds its commitments to parliamentary scrutiny, particularly in regard to free trade agreements in the future? Thank you.
Can I say thank you for giving me notice of the point of order? A minister is willing to respond immediately.
I thank Mr. Speaker for the chance to respond. The honourable gentleman will know, as I have given evidence to his committee in the short time I've been a minister, and the Secretary of State has given 2 evidence sessions, with a further evidence session coming up, along with our first and second Perm Secretaries, and the Director General for Trade Negotiations appearing before his committee and PAC last month. And also private briefings with his committee and the New Zealand
This is
chief
boring. We're just going to leave
negotiations.
this. Okay, just going to turn down Penny Mordaunt. because she is an awful, awful person. Right, so sorry about that. I just wanted to see what was happening with the point of order there. Sorry to keep you waiting. Right, so that was Prime Minister's questions, in which Prime Minister Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland decided that he wouldn't do anything more to help the people of Ukraine or help end this horrific conflict with President Putin and his inner circle quite safe, because President Putin doesn't have any fucking money in his own name, because, like, you know, why would you? And instead he has his money in other people's names. So he gives his mates a shitload of money and says, I want half of it, okay? So half of that's mine, you keep it, you go around the world, and when there's a war, they'll sanction me, they'll sanction Aeroflot, they'll sanction a bank, but they won't sanction you personally, because, as Boris Johnson said in the House of Commons to this day, this afternoon, we don't go after the Russian people. We don't go after the Russian people. Not asking you to go after the Russian people, mate. We're not asking you to go and take the fucking stale bread off the cunts. No, we are asking you to fucking go after the fucking oligarchs. The guy who has two flats worth £11 million. 2 flats worth £11 million on the doorstep of Parliament. But these oligarchs given millions, given billions by Putin. Putin is the richest man on the fucking planet, but he's only the richest man on the planet because he has this network of people around him who hold his money for him. We need to go after those motherfuckers. But of course, we won't do that because, those same motherfuckers are busy funding the fucking Tory party to the tune of millions of fucking pounds of your money, my money, right? That they are using to make the Tory party their own little fucking nest of stooges and to do what they want with them. It's a fucking disgrace. Actually, it's not just my money and your money, because, obviously their children, the children of these oligarchs, are getting like discounted sporting equipment and musical instruments in their private schools that they send their children to. And those musical instruments and those sporting equipment is part funded by you, by the taxpayer. We're paying for the trombones of the children of Russian oligarchs. We're subsidising it with our money. Like we subsidise fucking oil with our money. Like we subsidise all kinds of horrific shit with our money. Can we subsidise, looking after refugees with our money? No, you can't do that. You can't help women and children fleeing war. No, the EU's got this Schengen thing going on, so obviously we can't allow people in because we're not part of Schengen. Fuck off, Boris Johnson. Ireland is not part of fucking Schengen, and they have said anyone from Ukraine can go and live in Ireland for as long as it takes until they can go home again, which is what every Ukrainian fleeing Ukraine at the moment wants to do. They want to go home when it's safe to do so. They're not coming over here to pick our fruit or to steal our fucking benefits or to steal our wives or to steal anything. They're coming here to flee war. Young men are not allowed to leave Ukraine. They've got to stay and fight. So the people coming over are women and children and the elderly. And we're saying no, sorry. So if you're a Ukrainian living in the UK, you can't bring over your mum and dad, your elderly parents, to get them the fuck out of Kyiv before it gets invaded, rolled over by Russian tanks, destroyed, shelled by Russian artillery. You can't do it because of this fucking gobshite in Parliament standing there every fucking week in, week out, lying his fucking tits off. And we sit there and we take it. Oh yeah, it's very funny. I made a joke. Blah, 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 blah. Fuck it. I hate him. I hate his parliament. I hate his government. And actually, fucking parliament. I'm not going to say that I should clip this and years to come I'll go, I predicted that. But the Palace of Westminster's not fit for purpose. And I'm not just saying that because it's a bag of shite. I'm saying it because, actually the building is falling a fucking part. It's going to cost billions to fix and take about 70 years if Parliament continues to sit there. And while Parliament continues to sit, there's a fire. There's a fire in Parliament. Once a week, there is, clockwork, there's a fucking fire. There's a team of people that have to run around the Palace of Westminster with fucking fire extinguishers to put out these fires. Electrical fires. The electrical systems in the Palace of Westminster are fucked. It's going to burn down. It's going to fucking burn down. Mark my fucking words. It's going to burn down. And the reason why they don't just get it fixed is because they'll have to move out. They'll have to move Parliament out of the Palace of Westminster just for a few years, and then they can bring them back once it's all fixed up. But they're refusing to do that. Alexander Campbell. £4.49 super chat. Thanks, Alex. Boris is a private dancer for money. Any old ruble will do. Indeed, that is very true. So, I've got a few messages here, haven't I? Bloody hell. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through all of these, but thank you to anyone who's dropped in a super chat. Well, I think it's only on top chat. Live chat, and then all messages will be available. Aha. Okay, I didn't know that. There's two different settings, so I might not be reading your messages because I might not be seeing them on the screen. John Barleycorn says, bulldoze the Palace of Westminster. I don't care if it's listed. It's ugly and not fit for purpose. Put up a new modern building in its place. John, I disagree about putting a new modern building up because modern buildings look fucking awful and have done for many, many years now. But I'm as far as bulldozing the Palace of Westminster, yeah, we can have a park, can't we? Nice park of Westminster. Plant some trees. Goes to Guy Fawkes running around Parliament Building. It's like setting fires because the infrastructure of the building is so crumbling and falling apart. The UK needs to seize more than the oligarchs' money to fund your guys' needs. Indeed. Just watched a failed states parliament discuss what they can't do. Yeah. Well, they said what they can do. Well, the opposition did. I mean, most of the Tory MPs, I say, apart from like two of them, wanted to raise questions about air pollution in saving air pollution in Manchester city centre. Because Manchester's the air pollution of Manchester is endangered, and we need to go in there and save that air pollution so that young children suffer from asthma all their lives. Yes. That's what we want, because that's good. We shorten the lives of people who live and work in Manchester city centre because we need to protect the pollution. Protect the pollution, everyone. Protect it. Put Parliament in Warsaw for a while. That'll please Duke Vengeance. Says number 3. I don't know why they just don't build a purpose-built Parliament and turn Westminster into tourist attraction. Yeah, that would work. And yes, please, Graham, present yourself a president. We don't have a president in this country, David. We have a queen, which I'm happy to be, depending on how much drinks I've had, given from one night to the next. But I'm not someone who believes very much in aristocracy and the rule, what's it called? The divine right of kings. I'm not a big fan of that. I like the idea that we have elected representatives who we can get the fuck rid of. We can't get rid of Lord Lebedev because Boris Johnson's made him a lawmaker in this country for life. For fucking life. And today in Parliament, a range of measures were put before the Prime Minister to say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Why don't you, sanction Roman Abramovich instead of telling him that we're going to sanction him and he should probably liquidate all his assets before we get around to it. Hey, why don't we do that? Why don't we do... No, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to inform him. Like I said on the show earlier, it's like the police calling up Walter White. Walter, we know it's you. We're going to come and arrest you. We're going to give you a month. We're going to arrest you in a month, Walter White, for your meth empire. Yeah. That'll learn you. Click. Will this Russian corruption shine a light on Brexit? Already the fleeing refugees have highlighted the Cronin policy in the UK towards refugees. That is very true. And I just want to share with you, I don't know if I can just bring this up without, kind of seamlessly. I don't want to be sort of ruining your experience of watching the show, but I'm just going to try and bring up a message that Kieran, the van driver, sent me early this morning. I'm just going to bring this up on Facebook. You won't be able to see it, but I will read it. I will read it out for you. I don't want notifications. Right, so here is the document. When it loads up, please, sometime this fucking year, come on. This is from Distribute Aid, and it's entitled Brexit, Moving Humanitarian Aid Between the UK and the EU. Basically, for over half a decade, the UK has consistently supplied northern France and other EU countries with tents, sleeping bags, clothes, and much more. Since the UK left the EU, there's a lot more confusion when it comes to shipping, including how to ship humanitarian aid. So basically, up to this point, you could just bring whatever you needed, whatever the people needed, medicine, clothes, equipment, whatever it was, into the EU and get it to the people who needed it, whether they were refugees in Calais or refugees trying to cross through Hungary or people fleeing from persecution in, say, Crimea or somewhere like that. You could get the stuff to them fairly easily. I mean, obviously, once you go into Eastern Europe, once you hit the old countries that have still got, visas and things that you need to get into, that obviously you'll be hitting obstacle blocks there. But just to get this stuff out of the UK and into France, there was no problem whatsoever. It was the same as taking stuff from Liverpool to Manchester. Now, what you need to send what you need to send humanitarian aid out of this country, right? This is what you need. You need 1, the exporter's EORI number. You need 2, the receiving group's EORI number. You need a packing list, including HS codes, item counts, and item weights. A commercial invoice, including item values and origin of goods. This is for, imagine a van full of supplies, full of clothes, full of warm sleeping bags, things like that, tents. You need all of this, right? A commercial invoice, including the item values and origins of goods. 5, you need a donation agreement. A donation agreement signed and preferably stamped. Oh yes! We're becoming like West Africa, obsessed with motherfucking stamps. I've got like big passport, my passports that got filled up with stamps. Yeah, half of those fucking stamps are from West Africa. They love their fucking stamps. The smaller the country, the bigger the stamp. Boom, 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 boom. You need a stamp to get in, a stamp to get out. You need a stamp for the customs. You need a stamp for your vaccination status. You need a stamp for your inside leg measurements. 17 pages of stamps. Right, finally you can come into Togo now. Thank you very much, Graham. Seriously, what the fuck? It needs to be stamped, preferably stamped. 6, I'm only halfway there, boys and girls. The importer's proof of registration with the relevant customs authority that they are a humanitarian aid organisation and that any goods will be distributed free of charge. Yeah, I'm serious. This is what you need to get stuff from the UK and just take it to France. And then, you can take it all the way to Poland at that point, but just to get it to France, this is what you have to do. 7, the completed, stamped, and returned form sent to the relevant customs office to prove the aid is exempt from taxes. A bonfire of red tape, they told us. A bonfire of red tape. If anyone's watching this who voted for Brexit, first of all, fuck off and diet. And secondly, you fucking, what the fuck? Are you that thick? Did you believe him? Well, this is getting stuff that you're going to distribute for free out of the fucking country. This is what you got to do. I haven't even finished. 8, a PC if selling plant-based products. 9, EHC if sending products of animal origin. And 10, to ensure that the C20 is stamped on any customs documents to show you are sending humanitarian aid and should be exempt from tax. It's good, that, isn't it? Did you like that? I'm just going to share the link with you. There you go. You can read it yourself. I hope that works. I don't know if it will. It should do. You're not supposed to put links on comments in Facebook, but I think, on YouTube, but I think it works if I do it. Okay, number 3, thank you very much for the £5 super chat there. Number 3, dare I ask if a parliamentary petition would help force a debate on the issues? There is a petition going through, which last time I checked had 53,000 signatures, Richard, so if you have a look out for that. I don't have the link at hand, but there is a petition going through on the government website to try and get that talked about in Parliament, yes. JD says, the conspiracy theory in me says if we left the EU to make it easier for us to back out when and if World War III kicks that off. Well, listen, I've got to wrap up now because it's 1:01, but before I go, I'll say very quickly and very succinctly, I hope, that leaving the EU might have been, for the EU, the best thing to ever happen to the EU. The fact that the EU was able to bring in such massive sanctions and decide such incredible humanitarian aid to the people of Ukraine so quickly was enabled by the fact that Britain was no longer a member. I do believe that, because Britain, under this fucking gobshite Boris Johnson, would have sat there and gone, no, we don't, can we just check it? Can we just check this? Do we have to let anyone in? I mean, seriously, can't we have some checks, to make sure they're not terrorists coming over from Ukraine to blow things up? Oh, fuck off, Boris Johnson. Yorosh says, £10 super chat. Thank you very much, Yorosh. Sorry, I missed the rant. Happy B, if a bit late. Thank you very much. That's €10 for my birthday, which it was on Monday. So, right, here's the situation. I'm going to do another show. I was going to do another show tonight at 10 o'clock, but I need to take you with me. Do you want me to do a show tonight? I'm doing a show tomorrow, but it's going to be about Congo in Africa. So it's not necessarily going to be about Ukraine in any way, shape or form. Do you want me to do a show tonight? Let me know in the comments while I'm just wrapping up. If not, I'll maybe do a show on Wednesday, Friday. But I'm feeling, while this whole shit fuck is going on with Putin invading Ukraine and everything that is going on right now, I do feel like I could do with, and I'm sure you could do with, a sort of port of sanity, a sanctuary of sanity in this world at the moment, in this country, emphasis on the first syllable, to just talk about this stuff and get it out and discuss it. And I'll promise I'll read more of your comments tonight if I do a show. Kevin Haggerty says, yes. JD's got a thumb up. Yes, do a show tonight, says Jerry Watson. Another show, says David. Yes. And Andy Ray over on Facebook makes a really good point. Why have we still got RT broadcasting on our TV channels? It's excruciating watching the crap that they try and force on dumb British viewers and the flat earthers who might be in. Yes, you're absolutely right, Andy. And the EU has motherfucking banned motherfucking RT, but we haven't in this country. We're taking the lead. World-beating sanctions. Not Russian-beating sanctions, are they? Gobshite. Okay, so I'll do a show tonight at 10 o'clock, since I've got at least 5 people so they want me to do it. So I will see you then. And if not, if I don't see you tonight, can I possibly invite you over to my Graham Hughes Travels channel, which is a new channel on YouTube that I set up this year, and I'm giving a live show each week called Hughes of the World, in which I tell the story, the inside story of every country in the world in alphabetical order. It's a bit of a deep dive into the history and the politics and the shape of the place that I'm talking about. And it's interactive. It's live and interactive, and you can put your write your comments in and things. But it is on another channel to this one. So please either tune in, subscribe to Graham Hughes Travels. Just search for that on YouTube. You should find it. Otherwise, it will be going out on Facebook and on Twitter. So you'll be able to watch it on those platforms as well. If you follow me on Twitter, I am at Every Country. If you follow me on Facebook, I am that Ginger Scouser, and you can just follow me on Facebook. It's fine. I do have a blue tick on Facebook. I'm official. I don't know how that happened, but it did, so that's good. Right, so yes for tonight's show, says Boris Johnson thinks he's Miss Rabbit. And Alexander Campbell says, was trying to find out, see how twisted their view is. Indeed. Okay, so I'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock. And until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks to all my patrons and YouTube members. And until next time, I'll say hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. And fuck Putin!